It is time to leave your worries outside and laugh with us inside the Treehouse. I'm Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Not sure if you guys heard the very, very, very sad yet ultimately unsurprising news yesterday that an 88-year-old South American man died. Not sure if you guys heard that massive news. Also, the Pope's dead. I'm just, speaking out of my ass here, but I'm willing to bet there's another 88-year-old man from Argentina that also died yesterday who is being massively overshadowed by his fellow 88-year-old Argentinian who happens to be the Pope. So in case you missed it, St. Francis, the Pope.
Pope Francis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's not a St. Francis. You know what it was? I got it conflated in my mind because he chose the name St. Francis after becoming Pope in honor of...
No, just Francis, not Saint.
See, this is why it's getting lost in my head. He chose the name Francis after becoming Pope in honor of St. Francis of Assisi. So that's why the saint was stuck in my head.
Gotcha.
He had a respiratory problem. Mine's a neurological thing that so far hasn't killed me. So, scoreboard on the Pope.
Yeah, he had double pneumonia.
Double pneumonia, man. God was really ready for him.
No, it was far more. It wasn't just pneumonia.
I think that's what they said in the news.
I mean, he had been in the hospital. He's had a respiratory issue for over a year.
Okay.
Pope Francis, the former Argentinian cardinal who often bucked age-old Vatican traditions in favor of more modern yet humble approaches, died after an extended respiratory illness at the age of 88. The Pope was born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires to Italian immigrant parents. He was the first Pope from the Americas and the first born outside of Europe in over a millennia. As I mentioned earlier, when he was elected in 2013, Pope Francis said he chose his name in honor of St. Francis of Assisi, the 13th century Italian friar who renounced his wealth to become a man of peace, a man of poverty, a man who loved and protected creation.
And if you ever want to see a very interesting story about how he became Pope, there is a movie called The Two Popes, and with Anthony Hopkins, and about the last Pope who stepped down. Was it Benedict?
Yes.
And how it came to be that, because they were two completely polar opposite people when it came to the politics of the Vatican and the different camps of the church, and people who want more strict traditional ways and the more progressive people. Benedict was very traditional, and Pope Francis was very liberal as it came to the Catholic Church.
It's interesting when you think about it.
They were very good friends.
I love to hear that. I like to know that people of differing opinions and vastly different backgrounds can both join a Catholic institution and become buddies.
Well, they became buddies because, to his credit, Benedict realized that if another traditionalist like himself came to power, that it was going to drive off more people from the church, that the church needed to change.
That is interesting. You're right, though, because what little I know about the two popes, you hit right there. I know that Francis was sort of the new age, and Benedict was sort of the classic rock of the papacy. Like one was more Steppenwolf and the other one's more aha. In Catholic Church terms, of course.
Well, JP2 had been there for quite a while, so they thought he had gotten a little progressive in his later days, so they wanted a short-term strict pope, and that's what they got in Benedict. And
it really is an odd thing. Usually in old age, we get way crotchetier, whereas JP2 went a little. He went a little more like kind of like my dad did. My dad was always pretty progressive, but even in his older age, he went even farther into that. So like he grew out his Gandalf beard and was making, pot butter at home,
Nice.
Yeah. I don't think JP2 went that route.
No, he when he acknowledged that the Catholic Church may have been complicit in Hitler's horrors. That was pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah, the church at that point is like, can we put a lid on him, please?
Well, yeah, he still had that whole sex abuse thing that he didn't handle really well.
Can we try to distract people from the church sex abuse with anything else?
Yeah.
Anything other than we helped Hitler? Like, just say we went fishing. Anything would be better than that. It's sorry.
Tell him we serve steak on Friday.
Oh, that'll get the people riled up. See, that's a good distraction. Pope Francis passed away on Monday at the age of 88 after a prolonged respiratory illness the Vatican has confirmed.
Just when you thought it was going to be a slow week, you get a conclave.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
833-COOK-DFW. That's the phone number you need to get your free roof inspection from Daniel Cook and Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. And it's not just a free roof inspection. Daniel and his team will come out and walk around your entire property as well to take a look to see if there are any pressing needs or issues you might have. So that's a really great additional benefit and advantage to someone calling you for a free roof inspection, right, Daniel? You're gonna walk around the whole place.
Absolutely, Dan. I mean, our goal is to make sure your home is safe and you're alerted to possible items that could occur later down the road that you're not going to understand or recognize right away. And so we have a huge checklist. It goes over every area around your home. And if you have stuff inside your home, we can talk about that as well. And it's truly designed as an educational tool. I know a lot of people get freaked out about somebody coming out to your home because they think you're going to estimate them to death. You're going to nickel and dime them to repairs. And that's not what we do. We truly tell you what you need. We show you the information. It's up to you as the homeowner. We're never going to twist your arm. We're only going to show you what possibly could happen. Now you have the data. You need to talk about it over with your wife, your husband, and you want to get other quotes. That's fine. But let's just start with the best. And that's us coming out, showing you what your home possibly could have problems with. We'll give you some options and alternatives and then go from there.
It all starts with a conversation. So get that conversation started by calling Daniel and his team now. 833-COOK-DFW. 833-COOK-DFW or the website cookdfw.com.
You're listening to The Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of The Treehouse is brought to you by Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. To get your free roof inspection, call Daniel Cook today, 833-COOK-DFW. You want to see if your roof is in good enough shape to withstand the next storm, because you know it's going to come. You want to see if it's ready to be the shield that it is over your home and your family. 833-COOK-DFW or go to the website cookdfw.com. This is the Treehouse Show. I'm Dan O'Malley along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. We were just discussing that Pope Francis has left this earth to ascend to his spot in heaven, which I imagine is pretty cushy. I imagine you get a pretty big armed welcome if you're the Pope and you show up and you're like, "What's up, Pete?" I mean, it's going to be a better welcome than I'm going to get. It's going to be a better welcome than most of the people that I know that have died have gotten. No, you don't think so?
I mean, it depends where you how you what you want to believe.
Oh, I thought you were about to say it depends on where you get in. Like, do you think there's a back entrance for the popes? Ooh, that's a bad pun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was unintentional.
That's called a Freudian slip.
Slip in. Anyway, so Trey, you said it. Just when you thought the week was going to be boring, we get a conclave.
Yeah, we get to
And
watch.
it's going to be full of smoke and all sorts of intrigue. And if the church is smart, if the Catholic Church is smart, and it is, because it's been around for a really long time, despite some horrible things that it's done, it knows how to play up some publicity. They may already have the next pope picked. They may have done that through like a raffle a week ago, once they knew that the current pope was going to kick the bucket. But they know to draw it out in the conclave for a long time, because then the world will be watching. You'll get CNN, Fox News, maybe even Newsmax and ONN looking in to see if the color of the smoke has changed atop of the chimney.
The chances of them already having a pope would be like you saying you're going to let Congress pick the next president and that they could come up with a consensus pick. It ain't.
I like the idea of the raffle. That's hilarious. I'd buy a couple of tickets.
It's not bad.
Just to see if I win.
Do you remember the movie King Ralph with John Goodman?
No.
Oh, come on. That's a great movie. So here's the premise for King Ralph. It's John Goodman. You two quit looking at me like that. It's a funny movie. So the royal family, England, basically there was a horrible accident and they all die. And they have to go through the entire family tree to find the next of kin, to find in the line of succession who the next king of England's going to be. And it's a dude named Ralph from like Ohio or something. So John Goodman, blue collar guy, wakes up one day and there's a really fancy person at his house saying, hello, your highness. And then he has to go to England. It's a fish out of water story, but it's John Goodman. Quit looking at me like that, you two. All I'm saying is, in a very long-winded way, is maybe something like that would be fun. Pope Ralph.
Yeah.
It also sounds like an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, I remember the movie. I was just going to let you sit in that one and explain it.
And I did. I just talked and justified and tried to. Yeah. Anyway, so conclave. Trey, you're our papal expert. What happens now?
For those that weren't already on their way, the rest of the cardinals start flying in to Vatican City, and
Flying nun style or on planes?
most of them, some fly commercial. I'm sure there's a few PJs here and there.
I mean, let's be honest. It'd be really impressive if they actually flew in.
Yeah. And then they will they all get in a dormitory, and they're locked away, and they go into I think it's St. Peter's, and lock the doors every day until they vote and debate and
Do a hardcore game of pinochle.
and then they write their name, their card, votes on a card. It goes up. They count the votes. Then they put them in the little incinerator thing and let the black smoke go until they actually have a pope. And then they put something that makes the smoke white. Everyone cheers and habemos papam, habemos papam. We have a pope.
I've heard a guy yelling that at a beach before, but I don't think it was because it was for a guy. Well, I mean, it might have been a drug.
That's
dealer.
the person comes out on the balcony and sings habemos papam.
We have a pope.
We have a pope.
We
have a father.
Okay. We got a pope.
Yeah.
That's my Italian, in case you couldn't tell. Yeah, the only thing I remember from when, I guess it was from John Paul II to Benedict. That's the one I really remember. I remember us following that pretty well on the radio show back in the day. That was early 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that was our first conclave, and I think JP2 was in 79, somewhere around there.
For me, it was my first period in my lifetime.
for almost everyone. So yeah, that was what kind of must-watch TV because you just hadn't seen one in ages.
And back then there wasn't as much on TV. Now it wasn't like the 50s where there's only 3 channels and they were black and white.
Right.
But it was still early 2000s. You had cable and stuff, but it wasn't a whole lot on at that time. It was usually just reruns of shows you've already seen, like on Nickelodeon. So you put it on CNN or Fox News or something, and then they had the smoke tracker just like in the corner. Other news would happen that might be in the main box, but then you had picture in picture, always a shot.
They had a tight shot. Yeah.
You couldn't, even during commercials, they had the camera shot of the chimney at St. Peter's Basilica to see the moment that the smoke changed and we've got a Pope. Okay, so they all get locked in a room. They vote over and over and over again until they reach a majority decision on which new dude becomes the new pope.
Yes.
Okay.
And,
are we sure it's that strict, or do they have some fun in there along the way?
I mean, do they look like a group of party people? You think they put the hats on?
You get them behind closed doors, and
you think the hats get tilted a little bit?
They might turn those bitches around, and they just have some fun. Like, what happens if they get into the Holy Sacrament and they drink a little bit of it, and they drink a little bit too much of the sacrament, and someone decides to have some fun with the fire pit? That someone decides to have some fun with the smoke because it's black smoke until they get a new pope, and the new pope gets the white smoke, right? What happens if they decide to play with the colors in between just to have some fun with the rest of us because we're watching it nonstop on the chimney cam? Like, what if they throw in some pink or some blue or some other, Roy G. Biv things just to mess with us to see if we know what that means?
I mean, I if they would send up pink smoke, that would be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
It would just to watch the pundits go, well, what does this mean?
Exactly. This is why you can't have me in a conclave, because I'd be the guy changing the color of the smoke just to mess with the outside world. But like, purple smoke. Let's see what they do to that.
That's in honor of Prince.
It is. Like we're just it's intermission for voting, and we're just playing Purple Rain. So if purple smoke goes up,
yeah.
But the outside world wouldn't know that.
Right. I mean, the pink smoke.
I guess the ultimate symbol of irony would be that you get white smoke and they elected a black pope.
This is why we're not in the conclave. But it's also why we should be. That'd be a fun conclave.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com. You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
If you like the Treehouse Show, you will love us on social media, so give us a follow. At Treehouse On Air is our social media handle across all the social media channels. At Treehouse On Air, give us a follow today. This is the Treehouse Show. I'm Dan, along with Trey and Raj. Again, today is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Moving on a little bit from the Pope news into other actually extremely exciting news, maybe. Or it's once again a buildup of hope that will be crushed under the weight of massive expectations. Star Wars Celebration is the massive event that happens each year, and it happened last week in Tokyo, Japan. This is where Disney and Lucasfilm come together in front of a bunch of fans and promise to make good shows and good movies. And then we're usually disappointed in it. But last week actually had some, again, things that give us some actual good hope. Not the least of which is we got a release date for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which is the Mandalorian movie. And in case you didn't know, Baby Yoda has a name, and it's Grogu. So they've got 3 seasons of the Mandalorian done on Disney Plus, and now they're making a movie that will come out May of next year. May 22nd, 2026. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie got announced at Star Wars Celebration last week. In addition to that, fans are also really excited because Ryan Gosling is joining the Star Wars universe in a movie that's going to be directed by Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy. Star Wars Starfighter is going to be in theaters in 2027. I believe, I don't know for sure, but I believe that this will be based on a video game that came out all the way back in 2001. And Starfighter is, the game was based on right before the Battle of Naboo in the prequel movies. Right before the Battle of Naboo in the prequel movies, in the video game, the Starfighter pilot jumps in and has access to all these different aircraft, and you basically just aerial fight bad guys. So the story is going to be based on that, we believe, in some manner. But it's Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy, who's done some really great stuff lately. So you feel good about that one, Trey? As bad as we felt about the other Star Wars stuff recently?
I mean, anything Star Wars, I've guarded optimism is about as good as you're going to get from me. And Ryan Gosling doesn't really blow my skirt up as far as making me all excited for anything Star Wars. I mean,
that's because you're Trey. If you were Tina, you would love it.
I can see where he has a look and everything else, some Luke Skywalker vibes. So I'm, like I said, guarded optimism. The only thing, so you said there's 3 seasons of The Mandalorian?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's right. Okay. And then, then they're going to do a movie and that's it. All right. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully they don't screw that one up.
It's that movie, Mandalorian Grogu, is going to be written and directed by Jon Favreau, and it's co-written by Dave Filoni, who's the other Star Wars guru.
Then you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, I have I have high hopes for that one, and I like to say I have the guarded optimism, but the Starfighter thing, I actually have kind of high hopes because it's Sean Levy directing it again from Deadpool Wolverine. Also, The Adam Project and Free Guy. He did those movies with Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Gosling, I think he's great. So I'm excited. My fingers are crossed, but my beehole's puckered. How about that?
I mean, and I know there's talk that they're working on another trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be because I believe all 9 of the Star Wars books were written years and years ago.
I think Disney's scared. I think they are terrified to try to do a new trilogy.
They should be,
because the last 3, they made a lot of money, but they weren't that good.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think those were, even the last 3 were based on a set of the books. Like I think if I remember, there were 9 books. So, and that's what they made the movies on. So this would be a whole new, like, rewriting. Kind of like, when Amazon decided to do more Lord of the Rings. Well, Tolkien's dead, so you're basically starting from scratch.
Yeah. Which no pressure to a writer, by the way. Hey, so the source material and author is dead. So do us a favor, recreate Tolkien. Go.
Which an excitable fan base in itself, but the pressure of trying to redo a Star Wars, to write new Star Wars, especially after the last 3, and not, I don't know, is that, at least you're not the guy, you're the guy following the guy.
Yeah.
So
slate is clean, expectations are low.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, it really is. It's a great time to come in and do one. And the way I look at it is this: if you get tapped to be the new Star Wars writer director, just keep it simple, man. Just look at the blank page and just start with a lightsaber. Start with a lightsaber, have a little bit of stuff in the middle with some more lightsabers, and then end with some lightsabers. You're good. Just fill in the gaps.
No, you need a big planetary thing that can kill everybody. That's the other thing. You need lightsaber, big planetary Death Star.
That's what they did in the last trilogy. It's like, okay, the Death Star. Now we're going to make a bigger Death Star.
Well, if the story hadn't sucked all the way up until then, they would have been okay. But the most successful franchise, the middle three, that was it. Always a Death Star.
Raj, as someone who's not into Star Wars, I'm not even sure
Correct.
if you've seen any of the films. Are you looking forward to Ryan Gosling in a Starfighter role?
I'm excited for you guys. I will not be watching. I don't. I didn't watch any of the. I watched the old ones, like in the 70s and 80s. I watched those. Wow, I think we went to a drive-in for one.
Oh hell
My dad took us to a drive-in to watch one of them, and then the other ones we saw in the theater.
In that
But
case, what
after-
you should do is you would like Rogue One. Because
Okay.
Rogue One takes place right before the very first Star Wars movie that you saw. So you might actually enjoy that one.
Yeah,
Don't watch anything else.
I'm probably not going to watch that one either.
Honestly, what you could do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to send you some links on YouTube for some really cool fan-made lightsaber duels. They're actually better than some of the ones in the movies. And you're gonna that's all you need.
Yeah, that's.
Here's
I
what
love that. I just hope that I'm not the nerd in the room for once.
The Starfighter, though, with Gosling,
Mm-hmm.
he needs to have a scene
Oh,
with his U2, his R2D2 unit in the back in the Starfighter. What do you want?
trying to figure out what to have for dinner. What do you want? Damn it! What do you want? And then R2D2 beep beep bop beep boop. It's not that simple.
You pick.
We had that last night.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
It is time to advertise right here inside the Treehouse. Sponsorship opportunities are available. So if you're interested, just shoot us an email. treehouseonair@gmail.com. That's treehouseonair@gmail.com to advertise right here inside the Treehouse. This is the Treehouse Show. I'm Dan O'Malley along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma. We were just talking about Star Wars Celebration. Yay! Last week in Japan, where Disney and Lucasfilm announced a new film starring Ryan Gosling, directed by Sean Levy, called Star Wars Starfighter. Not the most creative title, but who cares? But it did lead me and Trey down an obvious path to us to think, okay, will they draw upon some of Ryan Gosling's past projects and incorporate it into the Star Wars universe? For example, because we know that Ryan Gosling, one of his most famous roles, was in The Notebook.
Want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What
It's-
do you want? God damn it. What do you want?
I have to go.
Yeah. Can't wait, right? Get chills? And you're right, Trey. Just replace Rachel McAdams with R2D2, and it's just back up the money truck.
Uh-huh. Just the memes alone.
Uh-huh. I mean, just Ryan Gosling, Starfighter character, arguing with an R2D2 about where they're going to get dinner. I think it works. Because look, when you're in a galaxy far, far away, you're going to have a lot of options, and you're going to need to make a decision. And that's going to be hard. That's going to be a long conversation. We're talking probably 3-4 hour film here, just trying to figure out what to eat.
Well, if you don't stop at this planet,
Mm-hmm.
don't know when the next stop's going to be, or what they've got
Up here. The only option left is going to be the huts.
Uh-huh.
You know what they eat.
You guys are so nerdy. It's fantastic.
Shut up, Raj.
Growing up, I was always the nerd, and now I get to watch you two nerding out over Star Wars. It's
That
pretty
doesn't
awesome.
make you cool, by the way.
Okay. I've never been sitting around with my Indian buddies just having a discussion about Ryan Gosling and Starfighter. So right now, you guys are the nerds.
We are damaged goods. Star Wars has hurt us. We need some redemption. They need to. I mean, Star Wars itself, Lucasfilm needs the redemption. But we grew up on these things. We love them. They're close to our hearts. It's nostalgia type stuff. It needs to get good again before we die.
Wait. Hang on. Raj, have you ever seen The Notebook?
Not all the way through.
Oh, you haven't been tortured then.
No.
How?
How do you skate by all this stuff?
Yeah.
I'm.
You date white women, so it's not you.
Yeah, it's not due to a lack of trying on their part.
Claire, when we were married, we went to, I think, 2 movies the entire time that we were married, in the 5-6 years, whatever it was, because she falls asleep like almost immediately. Doesn't matter unless she's really interested in that movie, then she'll stay awake. So we saw It and Inferno in the theater. Other than that, she wasn't a movie person.
Isn't she an agent?
For comedy.
Oh, okay. Clearly, because movies wouldn't be her thing.
And we were in Hollywood. So, I mean, and she did we did premieres and stuff. Like we would go to those, but we would leave right after the red carpet. So we yeah, and that's a bad look for her. So
no one escapes The Notebook. It's everyone suffers this fate for 2 hours. Gay, straight, it doesn't matter. Everyone ends up having to sit through this movie. Thank you, Dan.
I got you, bro. You know how I know? You know how you know that I got you? Because I've been in that Notebook trench with you. I've been there. I know what it's like. It's not war, it's not Vietnam, but it's a real close second.
You're stuck for a couple hours.
I'm in a foxhole I didn't ask for.
Visit us online at treehouseonair.com. You're listening to The Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You can get even more Treehouse when you subscribe to Treehouse Plus. With Treehouse Plus, you get bonus content, subscriber-only episodes, including video, and it's all available at patreon.com/treehouseonair. That's patreon.com, Patreon, patreon.com/treehouseonair, and subscribe to Treehouse Plus today. And quick point to be made there for our Treehouse, Ultimate Treehouse subscribers. Ultimate Treehouse subscribers, that is our top tier live show a week from today. 7 o'clock live show. So if you are not currently subscribed to Treehouse, Ultimate Treehouse, where you get all the stupid, you can do that at patreon.com/treehouse on air live show that happens almost once a month. Right there at Treehouse Plus. This is the Treehouse Show. I'm Dan. He's Trey. That is Raj. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Let's celebrate today with some birthdays. Machine Gun Kelly is turning 36 today. 36 today. Is he still with Megan Fox?
No.
Okay.
So they're going through, I believe, a fairly ugly divorce.
Are they?
I didn't think they were married.
I thought they were.
I don't believe so. I know he was she found some questionable stuff on his phone.
Well, I believe they have a kid. They have a kid together, don't they?
They do have they just have a baby.
Yeah,
but they were on vacation, and something popped up on his phone, and there was a lot of it, and she left. And that was that.
How questionable, because she's a pretty forward-thinking gal.
Yeah, I wonder what it was as well, but I'm guessing it's like, women sending pics or something. I'm guessing, or he sent pics to women. Something of that effect is my
I'm
guess.
wondering, is it something worse? I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm wondering. But they had a interesting relationship. Like, remember Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton and how crazy sexual and just crazy it kind of was. Like, they had each other's blood in a vial that, was around each other's necks. Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox basically kicked it up a notch and just really in your face with how much they were into each other.
Yeah, I mean, I caught some of Brian Austin Green's podcast where he was very complimentary. He's like, I just want her to be happy, and then like all the weird stuff started happening.
He's Megan Fox's ex-husband.
Yeah, and I think they have 3 kids together.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, I all this time we've been doing the podcast, I now understand it and realize we have been missing out on a really what should be a crucial segment, and that's like you recap what's in the your weekly issue of Us magazine, so we have a better understanding of pop culture and things like because I didn't know that there was a Megan or Machine Gun Kelly and her that they had some big torrid love affair and were showing stuff in public. So you can you can give us the celebrity gossip.
See, it's interesting you say that because my wife says stuff to me like that as well, and other people have said, like, how do you know this stuff? Because I've been prepping for a radio show for 25 plus years. The stuff you see or hear on the show right now is a very tiny amount of the crap that I have to wade through to get to that stuff.
So what's the daily? What's the tea? With Dan.
The tea?
The gossip. Yeah. What's the?
Oh, the tea. I thought you meant like testosterone or letter. Things like that. What are you saying?
The tea bag with Dan.
As much as I'd love to say no to that segment name, it's actually really good. The Hollywood Tea Bag with Dan O'Malley.
Teabagging with Dan.
Yeah. Teabagging O'Malley. I honestly, because I have a poor memory and I haven't seen anything recently about Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox, they were hyper sexual and extremely out there with it. So not only like on red carpets and stuff where they're sucking on each other's tongues, but she's, wearing next to nothing and he's hanging all over her because he grew up, she was his dream girl. All the guys that watched Transformers and saw her in Transformers, he's the guy that got her, right? So he was living his best life. And they were out there with it saying, yeah, we do this, we do that. And they just had an open book kind of relationship. And that was the kind of stuff while doing show prep that I would have to wade through. And I'd see that.
Yeah. Blame it on show prep.
I blame everything on show prep.
I just like reading the celebrity gossip. I mean, I have the TMZ app on my phone. Like I go through that a few times a day.
I mean, then let's, tea bagging with Dan and Raj.
Ew. Oh.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
Just one of those back and forth kind of deal.
Yeah, you each take turns.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
For all things Treehouse, go to treehouseonair.com. That is, I hope you realize, our website. On our website, you can get past shows, links, contact info, and more, like the all-new Treehouse Talkback feature that is on our website. Go to treehouseonair.com, click on the microphone on the lower right-hand corner, and leave us a message. right here inside the Treehouse, and maybe we will share it during the Treehouse Talkback segment, which we are about to do because it is Tuesday, and radio people love alliteration. So we feel like doing Treehouse Talkback Tuesday. But before we get to that, I can tell Trey has something on his tongue that he wants to spit out at me. You've got something. Yes, you do.
I'm damn sure not making a teabagging joke with that intro.
I tried to set you up for it. Or I really tried to set myself up to hit you back with something. But anyway, yeah, you snuffed it out. Or sniffed it out. Snuffed it. Actually, you did both. So good on you. So it is Tuesday. Let's do Treehouse Talkback Tuesday here inside the Treehouse. Messages that came in over the last, week and a half or so. And we're going to start with Robert. Our dear buddy and old pal, Robert Powell, who has called into this show for many, many years.
A show about EBT and food stamp benefits.
Let me start him over just a little bit. Cut him off there.
The Friday show about EBT and food stamp benefits got me to thinking, by the way, this is Robert Powell. Before they switched over to electronic benefits transfer with an actual physical card, there was no junk food being bought on paper food stamps. It was impossible. So all we're doing is re-regulating that from about 1990 coming back.
Hey guys.
To catch you up, Raj, because I think you missed that show. The state of Texas in the Senate has passed. Not sure if it's become a law yet.
I was on the show. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, my bad. Well, then So I don't remember back then, the paper, EBT stuff. Does that sound right, you guys? That
Yes,
no junk food back then?
They're called food stamps for a reason. There were actual stamps, and you got.
No, I remember that. What I mean is that you were limited as far as the purchases that the physical food stamps could make.
I think that is correct, because I think literally it was like there were meat, cheese, vegetables, and dairy. I think that was it was very limited. I don't remember how limited, but and then they went to the card system just to for two reasons. One, to take some of the stigma away from it, but also because as technology was progressing, grocery stores were like, we really don't want to have to mess with this paper stuff.
Yeah. Plus, it gets confusing when McDonald's is doing its monopoly thing.
Yeah.
You can't put a WIC stamp on Pennsylvania Railroad.
I believe they deregulated that for a few years, where you could get, like, you can go into a McDonald's, they'll say EBT welcome here, or Chicken Express or whatever it is.
Right.
And I think they deregulated. I think they're bringing it back now to where you can't buy junk food. I think there was a period where you could.
It's still, and to me, it's still pretty subjective as far as like what's considered junk food and what isn't. So that's
this isn't about McDonald's or anything like that. But this is about whether you can buy, potato chips and stuff like that, and
soda and candy. Yeah. I do find it interesting on that front because, look, I really don't have that big of a problem regulating what the people that are on those programs can and cannot buy. It's just I have more of a concern about the overall problem that healthy food, quote unquote healthy food, is more expensive and the junk food is cheaper, and we keep promoting the stuff that's bad for you type stuff. Because they're big corporations that make it, and big corporations run the damn country. That's my problem overall with the whole food stamp and whether or not, people on the WIC or, SNAP benefits should be allowed to buy a Pepsi. I guess that's where I stand.
Yeah, and then
I just want the stuff I buy to be cheaper. Like if I'm buying some chicken breast, I'd like it to be, cheaper than a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Where are you buying chicken that it's not?
I was making a bad example.
That's got to be some really good chicken.
All right, back to Treehouse Talkback.
Coming back.
Hey guys, long time listener, second time talkbacker. What happened to Raj? Haven't heard him in a while.
Hey.
We found him. He's right here.
was out of town, and then I was under the weather a bit. I'm still sick now, but I'm back.
When he's traveling, he's not talking. That's how it goes. That was Justin, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So on Friday's show, you guys were talking about how the moon's got all...
And I believe this is Linda.
Hey, so on Friday's show, you guys were talking about how the moon's got all of their names and everything. I can tell you exactly how that happened. Basic white girl. There's one day that she's sitting there all in her feelings, saying how the Maximus turtle moon is making her happy, and somebody's like, yup, that's it. What's next? Why we're caving to basic white girls? The world may never know. Anyway, thanks, guys.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but I'm glad she did.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if I, living in Los Angeles, if I heard one more time how, something was in retrograde, and it's what was making, these girls happy or sad, I was gonna kill someone or myself. One of the two. I mean, it's always like, Mercury is always in retrograde, and I'm like, oh my god.
The moon has nothing to do with your mood. How about that? Let's try that.
Yeah. Go tell that to any police officer or emergency room worker or bartender that the moon has no effect on people. Please be my guest.
I think they're using it as an excuse. It's a super moon. It's an excuse to do super crimes.
The amount of the crazy that comes out, especially go ask any ER worker.
Yeah,
if the moon doesn't have an effect on people.
So when there's a new moon, which means no moon, is there no activity?
It tends more towards full moon.
Or is it worse?
But the whole planet, there is something. Planets in different alignments, Mercury in retrograde, whatever. It amazingly, that crap really does have an effect on people.
So Trey is part basic white girl, according to Linda.
No, I mean, and I think the names go back a lot farther than basic white girls, but yeah.
Answer to the question on Monday's show about Fort Worth Alliance Airport. It is strictly a cargo airport, mainly as the hub for FedEx and UPS.
There you have it. There is Treehouse Talkback Tuesday here inside the Treehouse. Don't we all feel better now that we've been corrected or got new information on things that we maybe didn't know before?
No, not really.
This is what happens when you open up the phone lines. For all things Treehouse, go to treehouseonair.com, including if you would like to leave us a message, do that, treehouseonair.com, microphone, lower right-hand corner. Let's see. Follow us on social media as well at Treehouse On Air. For me, it's at the Dan O'Malley. For Trey, it's at Trey Trenholm 1. And for Raj, who is now found, it's at Comedian Raj. We'll see you back in here tomorrow inside the Treehouse.